The greatest tragedy of modern man is not that he knows too little about himself, but that he has forgotten too much. Inspired by Carl Jung. Have you ever felt like there's a part of you that knows more than you've ever been taught? A whisper from deep within. Something ancient, something real. What if the answers to your struggles, your anxieties, your lost sense of purpose were not in the future, but buried deep in the past? Before Freud, before modern science, and long before textbooks were printed, psychology existed. It lived in myths, in symbols, in sacred rituals. It breathed through ancient temples and echoed in the hearts of wise men whose names we barely remember. And yet, those forgotten teachings might hold the only key to healing the modern soul. Let me take you on a journey. Long before modern therapy rooms and self-help books, ancient people sought wisdom in the stars, in symbols in nature. They carved their pain into stones, painted their dreams in caves, and told stories that passed from one trembling voice to the next. But the greatest truths were hidden, not from the world, but from ourselves. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the parts of ourselves we bury because they frighten us, the thoughts we hide because they don't match who we want to be, the feelings we ignore because they might break us. But the ancients didn't hide from these shadows. In Egypt, the symbol of the weighing of the heart was not just myth, it was psychology. Your heart had to be light as a feather to pass into eternity. A heavy heart meant you were consumed by what Jung would later describe as the unconscious. In India, the Upanishads spoke of the Atman, the self beyond the self. In China, Laozi taught of Wu Wei, flowing with the Tao, accepting life without resistance, a lesson in letting go of ego. They all pointed to the same truth. You must go inward to go forward. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart, Jung said. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. But what does that mean in our world today? It means every anxious scroll through social media is a symptom of the soul begging to be heard. It means every relationship we ruin because of fear or pride is a mirror trying to show us what we refuse to see. The labyrinth isn't out there, it's in us. And psychology, true psychology, not textbook terms or surface-level advice, but the ancient psychology that has lived in the bones of humanity for thousands of years, offers the map. But only if you're willing to descend. Jung described the descent into the unconscious as the night sea journey. You plunge into darkness, you confront monsters, you face the parts of yourself you've long denied. Maybe it's a deep wound from childhood, maybe it's a sense of worthlessness you carry like a scar. Maybe it's rage you suppress so much that it's starting to leak into your life in other ways. This journey hurts, it must. But healing does not happen in the light. It begins in the dark. Just as the alchemists tried to transform lead into gold, the ancient psychologists, priests, monks, shamans guided people to transform pain into wisdom, suffering into power, not by escaping it, but by walking through it. Carl Jung believed we all share archetypes, universal symbols buried in our psyche, the hero, the mother, the shadow, the trickster, the sage. These aren't just characters in myths, they're parts of you. Have you ever felt the need to prove yourself, to fight for your identity, to rise after being broken? That's the hero archetype awakening. Have you ever sabotaged your success or happiness, not knowing why? That's the shadow whispering. Have you ever felt drawn to someone who didn't make sense, someone who seemed familiar at the soul level? That could be the anima or animus stirring within. The ancients understood these forces through gods and spirits. Jung decoded them through psychology, and you're living them every day, whether you know it or not. Somewhere along the way, we traded sacred scrolls for self-help slogans. We forgot that true transformation isn't clean or pretty. It's messy. It breaks you open. It shatters illusions. But if you look around, you'll see a new hunger rising. People are turning back, not to worship the old gods, but to remember something older than memory itself. That the human soul is not a problem to fix. It is a mystery to explore. And those ancient paths, once walked by barefoot mystics under desert stars, still wait for you, because this isn't just psychology, it's the language of your soul. Let's bring this closer, right here, right now. You might be struggling, quietly, silently. Maybe you wear a smile while inside you feel lost. Maybe you've built a life that looks fine from the outside, but inside there's a gnawing emptiness. Maybe you're trying to find meaning in a world that keeps screaming distractions at you every second. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're human. And the ancient psychologists would have said you are exactly where transformation begins. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." So choose. Choose to stop running from yourself. Choose to sit with your pain long enough to hear what it's trying to say. Choose to rewrite the story you've been telling yourself for years. Because the most ancient psychology of all is this: you are not broken, you are becoming. If you've watched this far, it's because something in this story called to you. Maybe it was the pain, maybe the mystery, maybe a longing you can't quite name. Whatever it was, don't ignore it. This video isn't the end, it's a door. Step through it. Read Jung, journal your dreams, sit with your silence, confront your shadows. Remember what your ancestors knew before the world got so loud, that healing is not in answers, it's in courage. If this spoke to you, if it stirred something real inside, subscribe. Not for numbers, but because there's more, much more. More stories, more psychology, more truth. Like, share, leave a comment. Tell me what part stayed with you the most. Because the journey we walk may be inward, but we don't have to walk it alone.